Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and this is the waiver wire episode for week 10 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell if you want notifications for all the new videos that come live. If you do want to take your support to the next level, you can check out my Patreon. The link is in the description below. And if you do want to check out my merch, such as shirts like this, you can check that out at fantasytipped.com. Let's jump into the video now, and let's start with the schedule for this coming week. And as you can see, guys, there are 6 games Monday, 12 Tuesday, 3 Wednesday, 12 Thursday, 3 on Friday, 13 on Saturday, and 5 on Sunday. So I know, guys, there are some weeks that I tell you, this week off nights aren't so important because, the games are spread out pretty evenly. This week, off nights are incredibly important. If you look at your lineup, it's pretty likely that your lineup is very full on Tuesday, Thursday, and on Saturday. You probably have some guys who will be riding your bench on some of those days. That's not ideal. So if you can, try to add guys who will be playing on those off nights so that you will minimize the amount of players playing on your bench on those busy nights. The best teams to do that with are the Calgary Flames, Minnesota Wild, and Ottawa Senators. The Flames and the Wild play on all 4 off nights, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, making those players from those teams so incredibly valuable this week. Ottawa plays 4 games as well this week, and 3 of those games are on off nights, making them very valuable as well. And there's the Vancouver Canucks, who are the only team who only play 2 games this week. So while they're not the most valuable this week, they're also not that bad because at least one of those 2 games is on an off night. So talking about the Flames and the Wild again, if you want players that play on those off nights, you're going to want to stream players from those 2 teams. Now on the Flames, you got Tyler Toffoli, who plays on the top line and top power play in Calgary and is 65% rostered. Then you have Andrew Mangiapane, who plays on the second line and second power play in Calgary, Michael Backlund and Blake Coleman and Adam Ruzicka, who play on the third line in Calgary. None of them have been too bad this year. And then Dylan Dubé, who's only 2% rostered, who's playing on the second line with Kadri and with Mangiapane. If you look at his game log, is actually pretty hot as of late. Then Noah Hanifin, Nikita Zadorov, and Chris Tanev. I don't really recommend Zadorov or Tanev. None of them are really that great of an options, but if you're really desperate, you could look at them. Tanev blocks a decent amount of shots, and Zadorov hits a little bit, blocks a little bit as well. Although lately has been a little bit cold in those departments. Hanifin, though, is someone who puts up points pretty frequently, so definitely someone that I would look at if he's available. Then I have Darth Vlader. Dan Vlader, the goalie of the Calgary Flames, seems to be stealing that net from Markstrom, so he could realistically see 2 to 3 starts this week. And that's pretty good, especially since you're getting those starts on off nights. So if you're in a points-based league, that's fantastic. On the Minnesota side, Joel Eriksson, who's a great streamer if he's still available somehow, has been insanely hot. Grab him if you can. Marcus Foligno, 16% roster, is playing with Joel Eriksson, as well as with Jordan Greenway, who's later a bit on this list. None of those guys are too bad of an ad. Greenway is actually usually a pretty decent player when he's actually healthy, and he's finally actually healthy. Frederick Gaudreau is playing on a line with Matt Boldy. Not too bad, not my favorite player at all to stream, but if you're desperate, he's definitely an option. And then Sam Steele, who's playing on the top line with Zuccarello and Kaprizov. And obviously playing in that deployment, you always can definitely put up some points. And then for defenseman options for Minnesota, there's quite a few. Spurgeon, Dumba, Addison, and Goligoski. Then one guy that I would look at is Spurgeon for the peripherals. And then Addison, who plays on the top power play in Minnesota. And while he's had some pretty big cold streaks this year, when he's on, he puts up some points. And right now he seems to be putting up points. So I don't mind Addison as a stream right now. And then Dumba, he's okay for peripherals. Not someone I really love. But if you're desperate, he's an option. And Goligoski is actually someone who's put up some really nice peripherals lately, even putting up some points every now and then. So Goligoski, if you're in a super deep league, someone that you definitely can look at. Now, while I am recommending a lot of these guys for this week specifically, they are for the off nights. I am not recommending a lot of these guys further than this week. I'm going to reiterate, these guys I'm recommending for this week because of the off nights. I'm not recommending them further than that. Jumping into other players that I definitely like on your team if they are available. First on the list is Blake Wheeler of the Winnipeg Jets. Super hot right now on that top line with Scheifele and with Perfetti. If he's somehow available, definitely scoop him up. And then Travis Konechny, 60% rostered as well, playing on that top line, top power play in Philadelphia in 3 games since return from injury, has 3 goals. Dude has been insanely good this year. I don't know how he's only 60% rostered. Then Brian Rust in his last 2 games, he's got 6 points, seems to be turning things around, so scoop him up now while you still can. Next is my Manscaped must-add player of the video, Dylan Cousins. 'Tis the seasons for clean balls. Fa la 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 la. Our friends at Manscaped are helping you clear your driveway for safe travels this holiday season. From stocking stuffers to white elephants, Manscaped products are at the top of every man's wish list. Grab some crop mops for your pops or the body butter for the holiday lover. Win this year's white elephant gift and help all the men in your life go from eggnog to nice hog this December by going to manscaped.com and using the code word FANTASYTIP for 20% off plus free shipping. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. Manscaped, for a perfect gift that will be the holidays' biggest hit. Now, why is Dylan Cousins my Manscaped must-add player of the video? Well, honestly, it's pretty simple. This guy is just performing at a crazy pace right now, playing on a very good line. It seems to have heated up with Peterka and with Jack Quinn. Definitely loving to see that line perform. Then Matty Beniers of the Seattle Kraken, who's someone who's also very hot right now, playing on with McCann and Eberle. Love to see the rookie go. Hopefully he can keep it up for a little while longer. Then I've got Kevin Hayes just playing on the top line and top power play in Philly. And he's been also insanely good all year, putting up points pretty much every single night. Don't know how he's only 32% rostered. I've had him here almost every single week this season, and I'm going to continue to put him here because he deserves to be more rostered than that. Then Seth Jarvis is someone who I actually had it as a drop earlier in the season because he was terrible. But he is still playing on that top line, and he's been putting up points lately. So if you're in a deeper league, Jarvis is someone that I would definitely consider, especially now that he's hot. Then Alex Killorn, someone who's getting top power play time and second line time with Steven Stamkos. It's great deployment, and he's putting up points right now. And then David Krejci is also putting up a lot of points right now. Very hot. Don't know how he's only 27% rostered, playing with David Pastrnak and Zacha on that second line. Then I have Victor Arvidsson of the Los Angeles Kings, someone who's also very hot right now, playing on that second line with Moore and Danault. And that line is on the second power play, but that second power play is getting more power play time than the first, like Arvidsson right now. Then I have Jordan Eberle, who I already talked about a little bit, plays on the top line with Beniers and McCann. And that's just really good deployment right now, and that line's super hot. So as long as they are hot, Eberle is a good streamer. And Jack Quinn plays on that line with Cousins and with Peterka, and they're also insanely hot right now. Jack Quinn was one of my favorites to win the Calder this year, and he's finally turning it on. Love to see it. Then I have JT Compher of the Colorado Avalanche. And what is going on in Colorado? They have so many injuries. They got Landeskog out. They got Nichushkin out. Then they had Rodriguez out. Then they had Lehkonen out. And now they have McKinnon out. What on earth is going on? Right now, their top power play is looking like JT Compher, Rantanen, Makar. They moved Devon Taves up there because there's really nobody else they could put. And then they have to put Newhook on that power play as well. It's a pretty bad situation over there in Colorado at the moment. But because of that, Compher is getting a really good opportunity, obviously getting second line time as well as top power play time. And he's been producing so far, and if you're in a league with faceoffs, he's been winning a lot of faceoffs as well because he's really been put in an elevated role. Then I have Eric Holla of the New Jersey Devils, and last year I featured Dawson Mercer in this spot. And both these guys are playing very well right now on a line with Jack Hughes. Both these guys deserve to be a little bit more than their current rostered percentages. Then I have Cam Atkinson of the Philadelphia Flyers, and he has not played a single game this year. We don't really know what's going on with him, but he has now been medically cleared to return to Philly's lineup. He hasn't cleared himself, which is a little bit odd because the doctors literally said that he can play, but I imagine that his return is imminent, and if you're in a deeper league, Cam Atkinson is someone that definitely could make a difference for you. He's someone that knows how to score goals and should put up a decent amount of points for you. Then I have Shane Pinto, who's someone who's insanely cold right now, but I have him on this list because Ottawa does have that nice 3 off-night schedule this week, and if you can't get your hands on a very good Flames or wild player, Pinto might be the guy that you might have to go with. Yeah, he's cold as hell right now, but he is still playing on a very good second line with DeBrincat and with Batherson, and definitely could heat up at any moment. We all know how hot Pinto was earlier in the season. Then I have Alex Newhook of the Colorado Avalanche, 8% rostered, and he really hasn't impressed me so far this year, but now he's getting a really good opportunity on the top line with Rantanen, as well as the top power play because of all the injuries in Colorado. In his first game in that spot, he had 2 goals, which is really, really good to see. Definitely could be a sign of things to come with that deployment. Definitely don't mind adding him. Then I have Pavel Zacha of the Boston Bruins. Someone who doesn't put up a lot of peripherals, I'll give you that. But he has been putting up points pretty frequently and is on a very good line with Krejci and with Pastrnak. Call that the Czech line because they're all from the Czech Republic. Like seeing them together, and I like seeing him produce. Definitely should be more than 6% rostered. And I have Peterka, who somehow is only 3% rostered. If you look at his game log, guys, this guy has been killing it on that line with Quinn and with Cousins. You should look at him in deeper leagues for sure because he's putting up a point every single night. Like him as a prospect and like him right now for your fantasy team. And then finally, if you're in an insanely deep league, you can take a look at Paul Cotter. 0% rostered, but is playing on the top line with Mark Stone and with Chandler Stevenson. And last game scored a couple of goals. Now, while that's nothing to get overly excited about right away, if he continues to produce, could be someone that you're going to want to look at, and more than just the deepest of leagues. Jumping into defensemen now, and the first 2 guys on the list, same as last week, Chychrun and Gostisbehere, both playing on the top power play in Arizona, both playing very well. Sean Durzi is the next guy that I would look at. He's new on the list this week. Sean Durzi is someone who's playing very, very well right now for LA, putting up a lot of points, and the reason for that is the power play. And he's not even on LA's top power play. He's on the second unit. But like I said earlier, guys, when I was talking about Arvidsson, that unit is actually seeing more power play time than the top unit. They're doing very, very well right now. So as long as they keep producing, they're going to continue to see more power play time than the top unit. And that's how Sean Durzi has been producing. As long as that power play time continues, Durzi has value. Definitely don't mind him. Then I have Brayden McNabb of the Vegas Golden Knights, been putting up a few points lately. I'm not sure how sustainable that is. However, his peripherals have been really nice as well, putting up some nice hits totals, some nice blocks totals, and a few shots to go along with it as well. Don't mind seeing that. Then I got Rasmus Sandin, and with Morgan Riley out, guys, Sandin's that top power play guy in Toronto, and as long as he's there, he's got a decent amount of value. Then I have Mike Matheson of the Montreal Canadiens, 11% rostered. And while he started off a little bit slow with Montreal, over his last 3 games, he's got 3 points and is still playing on the top power play in Montreal. I don't mind that. Then Travis Sanheim, 6% rostered. He's a guy who has been putting up a lot of points lately, which is a little bit odd because he's not getting top power play time. Frankly, he's not even getting any power play time at all. So I'm not sure how sustainable it is, but for the moment, he seems to be managing to put up these points. So you could stream him while he is hot. Then I have Adam Boqvist of the Columbus Blue Jackets. And with Jake Bean out 4 to 6 months and Werenski out for the rest of the season, it's Marcus Bjork, who you see later on this list, that has been getting the top power play time in Columbus. Adam Boqvist, however, was slated to come back early December from his injury. While I haven't heard anything yet about his injury, that's quite encouraging because once he comes back, he should slot in on that top power play, and Boqvist is a much better defenseman than Bjork is, and I think he's going to be able to put up some solid point totals, as well as a few peripherals as well, and could be a very sneaky add right now to your fantasy team if you have the IR space. Then I have Matt Benning of the San Jose Sharks, who's actually impressed me a little bit lately. He's only 2% rostered, but if you look at his stats over this past few games, he's put up some pretty nice peripherals. He's actually also been putting up points every couple of games or so. With Ferraro out of the lineup, Benning is the guy on the second power play for San Jose, which isn't anything crazy to write home about, but he is also getting some elevated minutes, and he's been producing with them. So as long as he's putting up some peripherals and points every now and then, Benning is definitely rosterable in super deep leagues. Then I have Marcus Bjork of the Columbus Blue Jackets, 2% rostered as well, playing on the top power play in Columbus. Had him on this list for a few weeks now. Obviously, he's not doing anything super crazy, but definitely the opportunity is there for him to put up points. Jumping into goalies now, and there are quite a few goalies that I'm going to talk about this week. First on the list is Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers, 57% roster, and even though he hasn't been playing that much better than Campbell, Edmonton seems hell-bent on him being the starter in Edmonton. He's getting way more starts than Campbell, and so he's the guy that you're going to want to own. Then I have Peter Kochetkov of the Carolina Hurricanes, playing very well right now, getting the vast majority of the starts. And as long as Frederik Andersen is out, which is indefinite right now, we have no update on his status at all, Kochetkov is a starter for you. And then Karel Vejmelka of the Arizona Coyotes has been playing pretty well. Has let in a few goals now and here and then, but his save percentage is really good. And if you're in a points-based league, he's a very good goalie. Then John Gibson, 41% roster, has been playing a little bit better as of late. Don't mind him as a guy that you're going to keep on your team. Then Anton Forsberg, the Ottawa Senators. Like I said, guys, Ottawa has a really nice schedule this week. So if you're in a points-based league, Anton Forsberg could be a guy that I'm looking at this week. I think he's going to see 2 starts this week because there is a back-to-back set. And also Talbot hasn't been playing that amazing. So Forsberg could realistically see one of the first 2 games for Ottawa and then one of the back-to-back games as well, making him a decent streamer for this week. Then I have Spencer Martin of the Vancouver Canucks, 32% rostered. And Spencer Martin has not been playing well. But Demko is injured, so he is the guy who is the starter in Vancouver for the time being. He only plays 2 games this week, so he's definitely not someone I'm super high on. But if you're really desperate for a goalie and there's nobody else available in your league, Spencer Martin's definitely someone who could turn it around and start getting you some fantasy points. Then James Reimer of the San Jose Sharks. I got an update today. He should be back very, very soon. So for week 10, should be good to go, guys. He's been very good all year, and if he's available, definitely not a terrible guy to be streaming. Jake Allen is someone who's been a lot better as of late. Samuel Montembeault had that absolute collapse against the Vancouver Canucks, so it's not like he's a whole lot better. I personally call him Montembeault bust. Never really liked Samuel Montembeault. He did play a little bit better than Allen a little bit earlier this season, but Allen is definitely the guy in Montreal. And I have Elvis Merzlikins and Jonas Korpisalo. Yeah, I know the Blue Jackets have not been very good. But Merzlikins and Korpisalo, as of right now, are splitting the starts in Columbus. Which one's going to get more starts? It's hard to tell. If tonight, when I'm recording this, is any indication, both goalies, probably neither of them are the best to stream. But if you are desperate, both these guys are getting starts in Columbus. Tage Thompson has just scored his 5th goal of the night, which is absolutely insanity. Just crazy. And it's only the second period, which leads me to believe he could get a double hat trick here. Just absolutely insane. Then I have Philip Grubauer of the Seattle Kraken, 18% rostered, and he hasn't been that good. But the sad thing is that Martin Jones has been worse. Martin Jones is a terrible goalie, and Grubauer is the guy who should get the majority of the starts in Seattle going forward. Despite him not playing that well, he still could definitely get you some fantasy points in points-based leagues. Then I have Alex Stalock of the Chicago Blackhawks, 8% rostered, and it was reported last week that he was going to be back soon. So be patient, should be back soon. If you have room on your IR Plus or IR, definitely grab him if you need a goalie. Stalock is going to be the guy in Chicago once he gets back, especially now that Mrazek is injured. Then I have Charlie Lindgren of the Washington Capitals, 7% rostered. And there's no knowing right now how long Kemper is going to be out. There's not really much of an update. It doesn't seem overly serious. But if Kemper's still out when this video goes live, Lindgren is someone who will be getting the starts in Washington in his place until he comes back. Then I have Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen of the Buffalo Sabres, 7% rostered. And like I thought, guys, Craig Anderson, although he's played much better than Comrie and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen this year, he's not getting the starts. Buffalo does not want to overexert this guy. He's 41 years old, and even though he's playing some great hockey, they're not going to give him the majority of the starts. He's going to get 1 start per week, and that's it. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is the starter right now in Buffalo, at least until Comrie returns. And finally, I have Arvid Soderblom, and with Mrazek out, he's getting every single start in Chicago, and while he hasn't been that amazing, in points-based leagues, you'll take it. You'll take the few points every game that he gets it. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed the content today, please leave a like and hit that subscribe button. If you do want to check out my merch store, you can check that out at fantasytip.com. And if you do want to take your support to the next level, the link to my Patreon is in the description below. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tip.